Their Excellencies, the Right Honourable Dame Patsy Reddy, Governor-General of New Zealand, and Sir David Gascoigne.
Arero te whakaoro pai tō tātou matu e te rani ke tuku nāsura wa tātou inoi ki tōna nōra. E hono re korore ki tuan. E hono re korore ke te atu e mauna rono ki te whanau e whakaoro pai ki nā tāna te katoa. Amen. E te atua. Tēnei rā mātou e tūnei rā i runa hoki ro tēnei. Roto rā tēnei whare hoki o tēnei hoki te kahurani hoki o te kawana tēnara. E bi aturei rā ka koe i hua e tukature o mātou whakamuti. Koe tau mai rā tō korowai manaki, tō korowai awhina, ki nua hoki tēnei manuhiri. Ko tau mai nei a rātou, ke tohutia rā rātou, i runa te hono re, a tēnei hoki te kuini au ina rani a i hāpeti tēnei rā. Nai rāwhi tā rātou, manaki tā rātou, i runa hoki tō rātou hoki asingi tō ākaini, ko rātou whānau, ko rātou hapu, manaki tā rātou i hoa. Nō reira kororia ki tō inwa tapu. Āmene. Nō reira tēnei rā te mihi kia koutou, ne rau rāna tirama. Kia kōrua rā nā minita, me me te pēsi kia kōtau. Kōrua rā, kōtau rā nā, me ki rā nā rata te kōtau mai rā, ki moi rā e tēnei rā tō tātou kahurani, ki kawana tēnā rā, i tēnei rā ko tohu tia kōtau, ki nā tohu rā, a te kuini o inari, o tira o te roa ai i hāpiti. Mera ki nā mauna tapakai wananui a tātou, hikarani mauna, tēnei pia te kā koe, o te ki te whānau apanui, kōtau rā me ki rā nā māta wakakai wananui a tātou, nau mai, hara mai, tēnā kōtau, kia ora tātou katoa.
E ngā mana, e ngā reo, e ngā iwi o te motu, e puipui nei. Tēnei aku mihi mahana ki a koutou. Kia ora tātou katoa. Nau mai, haere mai rā ki te whare kawana. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, warm greetings to you all and welcome to Government House. I specifically acknowledge the Honourable Ian Lees-Galloway, Minister of the Crown, our kuia Turupuai Higgins, our kaumātua, Hemana Erewera, tēnā koutou. It's a great pleasure to host this investiture ceremony and bring together 15 honour recipients along with their family and friends to recognise the contributions they have made to our country. As Governor-General, I have the authority and the privilege, on behalf of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, the Queen of New Zealand, to hold an investiture ceremony for her and to confer the honours to which each recipient is entitled. Ladies and gentlemen, as each one is honoured, I invite you to join me in thanking and congratulating them for their service to our country. Mr. Hewitt Humphrey will now summon each recipient and read a citation for them.
Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of a Companion of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Mr. Phil Bagshaw of Christchurch for services to health. Phil Bagshaw helped establish the Canterbury Charity Hospital, chaired its trust and remains a volunteer specialist general surgeon. He's been appointed to the Canterbury District Health Board and several Ministry of Health committees, and has chaired the New Zealand branch of the Royal Australasian College of Surgeons and the Council of Medical Colleges in New Zealand. He helped found the Academy of Endosurgery Trust and organised 2 international laparoscopic surgery conferences. He helped initiate the internationally recognised laparoscopic colorectal cancer study. He chaired the Scientific Assessing Committee for the Canterbury Medical Research Foundation. Mr. Bagshaw was president of the New Zealand Society of Gastroenterology and chaired the New Zealand Liver Transplant Advisory Group for 15 years. Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of an Officer of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Ms. Shirley Horrocks of Auckland for services to documentary filmmaking. Shirley Horrocks has directed and produced documentaries for 35 years. She's made films profiling figures such as Len Lai, Marty Friedlander, Alan Curnow, Albert Wendt, and Sir Paul Callaghan, as well as exploring Maori and Pacific Island topics, disability groups, women's issues and diversity. She made one of the first films about Kiwiana. Many of her films have had a strong regional focus, such as her film on free theatres activities following the Christchurch earthquakes, or Tom Chrysler's art activities in New Plymouth. Her documentaries have been presented at film festivals within New Zealand and internationally, and she's won a number of category awards. Ms. Horrocks has been the most screened New Zealand director at the New Zealand International Film Festival. Dr. Mike Johnston of Nelson for services to geological science and history. Mike Johnston is a leading authority on the geology of the Nelson region and has authored numerous publications and completed fieldwork covering most of the top of the South Island. He's been a member of the Geological Society of New Zealand and its successor, Geosciences Society of New Zealand, since 1962. He was president of the National Committee and convened the Historic Studies Group. He was elected to the International Commission on the History of Geological Sciences, representing Australasia and the Pacific. He was president of the Nelson Historical Society and was involved with the Nelson Provincial Museum and the Royal Society Nelson branch. Dr. Johnston has been a trustee and chairman of the Nelson Heritage Protection Trust and a trustee of the McKee Charitable Trust. Mr. Ahmed Tani of Christchurch for services to refugee communities. Ahmed Tani played a key role in founding the Canterbury Refugee Resettlement and Resource Centre, formerly the Canterbury Refugee Council. He's facilitated multiple projects through the centre for seniors, women and young people. He helped establish and now chairs the New Zealand National Refugee Association. He's part of the Asia Pacific Refugee Rights Network. He set up multiple groups and subgroups for refugees and migrants in Christchurch in collaboration with other development agencies. He's been instrumental in setting up interfaith committees in Christchurch. He chairs Immigration New Zealand's Strengthening Refugee Voices. He's a senior member of the Muslim Association of Canterbury and chairs the organisation's election committee. Following the 2011 Christchurch earthquakes, Mr. Tani helped connect people with services and with others in their neighbourhoods. Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of a member of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Mr. Quentin Bennett of Napier for services to optometry, diving and conservation. Quentin Bennett ran an optometry practice in Napier from 1967 until 2011. He's a member and former National Councillor of the New Zealand Association of Optometrists. He was president of the New Zealand Cornea and Contact Lens Society. An experienced scuba diver, he made significant contributions to diving technology and underwater photography. His writing on these subjects has been published widely. He introduced to New Zealand the decompression computer and the inflatable dry suit, both of which are now regarded as everyday safety equipment. He's been involved in underwater exploration and discoveries overseas. Mr. Bennett has delivered many presentations and has prepared submissions supporting environmental and conservation issues. Mr. Peter Little of Carterton for services to Maori land development and administration. Peter Little began his career with the former Department of Maori Affairs and Island Affairs in Taumaranui. As Director Land Development and Rural Lending for the department, he supported Maori farmers to diversify their land use and serviced the meetings of the Board of Maori Affairs, later the Maori Land Board. Following roles supporting several ministers of Maori affairs, he became manager of the Land Management Unit within Te Puni Kōkiri, where he implemented the land disposal strategy. Mr. Little played a key role in re-establishing the Ahuwhenua Maori farming competition and establishing the Young Maori Farmer Award, of which he's now the panel's lead judge. Mr. Philip Newbury of Invercargill for services to glass art. Philip Newbury is a pioneer of slumped glass art, specialising in working with recycled glass. He's exhibited in group and solo exhibitions around New Zealand, and his works are held in private collections nationally and internationally. He's completed a number of glass work commissions, including stained glass windows for Riverton and Gore Hospital, glass panels for the boardroom of Environment Southland, and a sculpture for Invercargill City Council and Kumagaya City, Japan. He completed the world's first solid glass tombstone, free of charge, for Sam Cusack in Invercargill. Mr. Newbury was the inaugural Waiheke artist in residence and has tutored at Southland Polytechnic and Marlborough Art School. Mrs. Ava Strong of Thames for services to karate and the community. Ava Strong has been a martial arts instructor for 35 years and is the highest ranked woman within Kyoto-Ryu Martial Arts and the Dillman Karate International outside of the United States. With her husband, Mr. Lance Strong, she established the Kyoto-Ryu Martial School in Thames. The couple have extended their teachings into 13 schools throughout the Upper North Island. Mrs. Strong helps run training workshops and is the primary coordinator of the karate school's grading examination events. She's worked with youth in the community, fronted a campaign for child sexual abuse prevention, and facilitated women's self-defence classes. She's a Foundation Committee member of Totally Thames. Mr. Lance Strong of Thames for services to karate and the community. Lance Strong has been involved with martial arts for 60 years and has a Grandmaster's title and a 9th degree black belt. He's been an instructor for 37 years. With his wife, Mrs. Ava Strong, he established the Kyoto-Ryu Martial Arts School in Thames. The couple have extended their teachings into 13 Upper North Island schools. Mr. Strong facilitates grading and instructs those courses and developed the Warrior's Wisdom course. He's worked with youth in the community and fronted a child sexual abuse prevention campaign. He's a Foundation Committee member of Totally Thames and was a driving force behind the Thames Corporate Battle of the Bands. Mrs. Sharon Torstenson of Christchurch for services to the community. Sharon Torstenson is Executive Officer of the Social Equity and Wellbeing Network, SOWN, previously the Council of Social Services in Christchurch. Despite losing all office facilities and records in the 2011 Christchurch earthquake, Mrs. Torstenson led her team in providing essential support and information to non-profit sector organisations to assist them in their work of community recovery and social support. Through SOWN, she's involved with the South Island Public Health Alliance's collaborative Hauora Alliance project and the Deep South National Science Challenge. She served on a number of national bodies and has been involved with local organisations such as Christchurch Community House Trust, Qtopia and Christchurch Community Accounting. Your Excellency, to receive the Queen's Service Medal, Mr. Jeff Crutchley of Ranfurly for services to water management. Jeff Crutchley was instrumental in forming the Taieri Trust, New Zealand's first large-scale integrated catchment management project, and served as chairman. He's chair of the Upper Taieri Resource Management Group, which was set up to address the issue of historic permits for water use due to be phased out by 2021. He was instrumental in establishing the Maniatotu Pest Management Company, one of New Zealand's most successfully owned pest management groups, and was a founding director and served on the board. Mr. Crutchley is a past member and chairman of the Pateroa School Board of Trustees. Mr. Gary O'Neill of Palmerston North for services to historical research. Gary O'Neill has delivered presentations on the history of Palmerston North, conducted guided bus tours, and helped others compile their family histories. He's written and published histories for the Masterton Lions Club, various family histories, and church, school, street, and suburb histories. He led the establishment of the Palmerston North Historical Society and has been involved with the Historic Places Trust and Friends of Te Manawai. He sits on the editorial committee of the Manawatu Journal of History and is treasurer of the Journals Trust. Mr. O'Neill produces a monthly newsletter and delivers a monthly talk on historical matters. Mrs. Nairi Rowe and Mr. Ronald Rowe of Palmerston North for services to the community. Nairi Rowe helped her husband, Mr. Ronald Rowe, establish the Centenary Legacy Trust, which offers a working scholarship program for young people in Hawke's Bay. She held various roles with the Trust and has been Secretary and President of the Hastings Central Lions Club. She was administrator of Mr. Rowe in his roles as the New Zealand South Pacific Leadership Chairman and member of the Lions Club's International Leadership Faculty. She was Secretary of the Whanganui Hospital Chaplaincy. The couple volunteered in Papua New Guinea and Samoa with volunteer service abroad and helped form the Wairua Community Development Trust. Mr. Ronald Rowe has been involved with Lions clubs at all levels. He's chaired liver transplant appeals, the Whanganui Hospital Chapel Rebuilding Appeal, and the New Zealand South Pacific Leadership Program. He and his wife were volunteers to Papua New Guinea and Samoa with volunteer service abroad. He's involved with the New Zealand Institute of Management. He originated the trust to raise the river ship Waimarie from the Whanganui riverbed. He's an executive member of the Napier RSA. He led the establishment of the Centenary Legacy Trust, which offers a working scholarship program for young people. Mr. Walter Walsh of Gisborne for services to the community and broadcasting. Walter Walsh helped establish Te Reo Irirangi o Turanganui a Kiwa, Turanga FM, and has been involved with its development and growth for nearly 30 years. He's participated in community productions and used his musical talents to raise funds for community organisations. He's been Master of Ceremonies for several fundraising events. He supports the Tau Awhi Tairāwhiti Men's Centre and was a committee member of Gisborne RSA. He's an advocate for widespread usage of Te Reo Māori and works to promote learning with Kimihia Te Kupu Kohanga Reo. Mr. Walsh volunteers with Tūhanga Health's smoking cessation program. Your Excellency, the investiture is concluded.
An investiture ceremony is the most important event I hold on behalf of Her Majesty, the Queen of New Zealand. It allows me, as Governor-General, to recognise and thank an extraordinary group of people on behalf of all New Zealanders. By using their talents to make ours a better society, whether by their service to their communities or by their leadership in diverse fields of endeavour, or their commitment to excellence in their own field of expertise. Our recipients have set a fine example to others, encouraging them in their own endeavours. to the recipients. It has been a privilege to hear your stories today. You've demonstrated determination, compassion, commitment in your daily lives. In your own way, each of you has helped make New Zealand a better place to live. In some cases, your influence and the positive impact of your work has extended beyond our shores. Your actions and the stories we've heard reflect the spirit of the words of Winston Churchill when he said, "We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give." Your contributions have enriched the cultural, social and economic fabric of Aotearoa New Zealand. Please wear your insignia with pride, knowing that your communities appreciate and value your work and are inspired by your example. On behalf of the Queen of New Zealand and all New Zealanders, I congratulate and thank you for all your work and service to our country. Kia ora hui hui tātou katoa. Ladies and gentlemen, that almost brings to a close the formal part of today's ceremony. But before we break and go through for refreshments, may I ask you to stand and join me in singing our national anthem in Māori and in English. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.